Alta celebrated its 8th annual Alta Airline Leaders Forum in November 2011 in the magical city of Rio de Janeiro. Under the generous hosting of Rio Tour, the official tourism authority. The official airlines were TAM, Gol, and Avianca Brasil. Rio de Janeiro, known as the Marvelous City, is nestled in one of the most spectacular natural settings of any metropolis in the world, enjoying tropical climate, decadent cuisine, world-renowned Copacabana and Ipanema beaches, and tall granite peaks, natural and man-made wonders like the famous Baú de Azúcar and the Corcovado or Christ the Redeemer. Registration area, sponsored by Embraer. Registration area, welcome beverages, sponsored by APCO. The conference kicked off at a dynamic pace as more than 500 guests, including more than 40 airlines, CEOs, residents, board members, and civil aviation authorities, among other industry executives, registered to attend the Alta Airline Leaders Forum 2011 sessions and workshops. Welcome cocktail, sponsored by Pratt & Whitney. The first evening of the 8th Alta Airline Leaders Forum was inaugurated with a welcome cocktail where guests mingled in an ambience of elegance and camaraderie as Alta's executive director, Alex de Gunten, received attendees, inviting them to enjoy the night. The official opening of the forum featured welcome remarks by Brazilian aviation tourism authorities and Alta's executive committee members. Latin American aviation industry CEOs and other panelists addressed the audience as the second day of the forum begins. Morning coffee break, sponsored by Superjet International. Keynote lunch, sponsored by Lufthansa System. Attendees are treated to a lunch and keynote speech from Lufthansa System Executive and U.S. Department of Transportation, Susan Kurland. As the second day of the forum draws to a close, conference attendees focus on topics of great relevance to the industries in the region. Coffee break, sponsored by ATR. Leaders of the Latin American and Caribbean airlines pose for the annual picture, a trademark of Alta Airline Leaders Forum. Alta Airline Leaders Forum Award Dinner, sponsored by Airbus. Entertainment for the 8th Alta Airline Leaders Forum Award Dinner, sponsored by GE. The forum's award dinner was filled with special moments. David Niliman from Azul Linhas Aéreas Brasileiras was awarded with the Federico Block, and Embraer was the recipient of the Rolima Mauro Award. Alta's Helping Hands program surpassed over $100,000. The funds raised through a silent auction and donations from various Alta members during the award dinner are to be presented to Sociedad Viva Casusa, dedicated to helping children infected with the AIDS virus. The gala came to a conclusion amidst the festivities of the Brazilian Carnival spectacle. The night was certainly an unforgettable night. As Day 3 came to a close, Alta members, airline CEOs, and Brazilian authorities all agreed that the topics of great relevance to the region and the industry were addressed throughout the conference. Coffee break, sponsored by Bombardier. Lunch, sponsored by Embraer. As in the prior 2 days, the final day of the conference featured a lunch keynote speaker, sponsored by Embraer. Closing celebration dinner, sponsored by CFM. As a farewell, the forum attendees once again gathered to share one last meal, surrounded by rhythms and movements of tropical music. Alta Airline Leaders Forum is the place to be. 8th Alta Airline Leaders Forum is the place to be, where top industry leaders gather to promote dialogue on issues of importance to the region's airline industry. Forum video and e-board sponsored by Amadeus. CEO Meeting Room, CEO VIP Transfers and Forum website sponsored by Bombardier. Internet Cafe and Alta Press Room sponsored by PowerJet. Internet Cafe and CEO Excursion sponsored by CITA. Hospitality Suites sponsored by CFM. Turndown Service sponsored by Datalex. CEO Civil Aviation Breakfast sponsored by GE. Alta AGM Closing Meeting sponsored by ILFC. Delegate Portfolio sponsored by Macquarie Air Finance. Alta Yearbook sponsored by Marsh. Marketing Gift to Attendees and Delegate Bag sponsored by Mectronics. Alta Airline Leaders Forum Program sponsored by Mercator. Delegate Bag sponsored by Miami-Dade. Flash Drive sponsored by Mitsubishi. Conference Notepad sponsored by Option Town. View Meeting sponsored by Petrobras. Conference Translations sponsored by Rolls-Royce. Lanyard Badge sponsored by Sabre. Delegate Tag Bag sponsored by Schneckma American Engine Services. Beach Towel sponsored by Terpel. Concierge Services sponsored by Travel Guard. Marketing Gift to Attendees in Delegate Bags sponsored by Travelport. Hotel Key Card sponsored by UATP. Alta thanks all the sponsors that generously contributed to the successful execution of the Alta Airline Leaders Forum 2011.